Hello YouTube, Radical here. Wanted to come on and address a regurgitated video that grnm's recently put up responding to one of my videos. So it's just kind of regurgitating something he posted earlier. Doesn't exactly align with it, but I felt to address some of the issues. I'm going to play what he has on here and pause it and respond to each point as we go along. So here we go. This is starting at 50 seconds into his video titled Eternally Single.
In the olden days, celestial marriage was the law. Eternal marriage to more than one spouse. And, according to Brigham Young, you can't be married in the celestial kingdom. A man can't be married in the celestial kingdom if he has only one wife.
We'll find out here a bit later on that this is a little bit of a... he's taking certain aspects of our belief and extrapolating them beyond what was actually said. But we'll continue on.
A woman, however, gets to go to the celestial kingdom and be married, and doesn't really have a choice in the matter.
That's not really true either, that she doesn't have a choice in the matter. Everybody has a choice whether or not they want to go to the celestial kingdom. The only thing is that a woman is not inhibited from getting there if her husband is unfaithful or does not abide by the highest law. So
I'll get into that. In the book Inspired Prophetic Warnings by Lendwell, and the Deseret News for September 17th, 1875, as well as Wilford Woodruff's journal, Brigham Young is reported as saying, "Now where a man in this church says, 'I don't want but one wife, then I will live my religion with one,' he will perhaps be saved in the celestial kingdom. But when he gets there, he will not find himself in possession of any wife at all. He has had a talent that he has hid up. He will come forward and say, 'Here's that which thou gavest me, and I have not wasted it, and here is the one talent.' And he will not enjoy it, but it will be taken from him and given to those who have improved the talents they have received, and he will find himself without any wife at all, and he will remain single forever and ever."
Now, just aside from the supercilious way in which he presented that, he's not quite catching on to what was actually said. If you notice, Brigham Young didn't say that a man that didn't take up more than one wife would be that. It is specifically applied by Brigham Young to men who said that they will only have one wife, that they've predetermined that regardless of what God sees for them, that they've already decided in their minds. And that was what Brigham Young taught. In fact, Brigham Young taught that if they did not accept the principle of polygamy, anyone in our faith didn't accept the principle of polygamy as a true principle. That didn't mean they would end up being required to practice it. But if they did not accept it, that refusal to accept it would eventually lead to their apostasy. And from what I've seen, that's been the truth. Everybody who has, it's similar to put this in a perspective that perhaps a Orthodox Christian could understand. We look at animal sacrifice in the Old Testament. If you're a true Christian, you don't practice animal sacrifice. But if you were to deny the validity, the truth of the principle of animal sacrifice, you would deny your very roots. And in denying your very roots, you would you'd counteract the foundation on which your whole faith was built. So you couldn't really be a believing Christian if you rejected it in fullness, the principle of animal sacrifice. The same is true with polygamy. We may or may not be required to practice it as men, but men that determined that they would never apply it are those men that cannot make it into the highest degree of the celestial kingdom.
Majority of men currently marry only one woman and are only sealed to one woman would have the joy of being single.
See, this is exactly what I was talking about. He's taking his view and his assumptions of what was said, regarding what was said, and his extrapolations, and he's applying these false constructs to everything else. That was nothing of what was said by Brigham Young. Brigham Young specifically said that those men who would say that had predetermined in their minds what principles they would and would not accept, regardless of what principles are required at their hand when they're alive, it's not looking like I'll ever be required to practice the law of polygamy. That doesn't mean I can't accept it as a true principle. And the fact that I will only be sealed to one wife doesn't mean that I will not have my wife in this celestial kingdom if I'm faithful on everything else. It's only if I reject true principles that she would be taken away from me. She's not being forced to leave me, but that's the thing with celestial law, is that everybody is there of their own accord, and if somebody was righteous, they would want to be there, and they would have accepted all the true principles
once they were dead. Wow. They also get the joy of having their wife handed over to a sicko pervert like Brigham Young.
This is pretty classic, because those that do revile the principles, the true principles, will attribute sin and iniquity to them, just as has always happened. It's the warning that's given, that they'll put light for dark and dark for light, and it's really because their own heart is corrupt, because that's the only intentions they can see behind stuff, because they're seeing through the carnal eye, through the carnal mind. But